Hello and welcome to Rise Unwind. My name is Dan. You know, each and every week we try to talk to people from across the country about things you could do in your neighborhood. And on this week's show, we got this.
I mean, I was out there in Kentucky. It was by myself. I didn't really have anyone my age out there either. So it kind of became this cathartic experience that was, in a way, a parallel to Justin's quietness.
I don't know. We've all got trauma.
We do.
Yeah, that's pretty much all there is, you know.
It gives every character one heck of a backstory, or at least a story to their story. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I'm climbing my own walls, and it's about, this series is to show you how it works and then figure out what those walls are to you personally.
All of that and more right here on Rise and Unwind.
If you're over 40 and noticing more eye strain, blurry close-up vision, or trouble seeing at night, you're not the only one. A lot of people chalk it up to just getting older, but many of these changes are normal and very treatable. Joining us today is Dr. Ashley Brissette, an ophthalmologist with 4 questions you should be asking your eye doctor in 2026. Welcome, Dr. Brissette.
Thank you for having me.
What vision changes should people expect as they move into their 40s and 50s? And when should someone stop guessing and get checked out?
Yeah, vision changes are very common as we grow older, usually into middle age and older. And around age 40, something called presbyopia does start to develop. And that's an aging change of the eyes where you have difficulty seeing up close. So that's why we start holding things further out to be able to see them more clearly, maybe even needing better lighting. And then as we get into our 50s, 60s, and older, we develop cataract, which is a normal clouding of the lens inside the eye. And again, it's a normal part of growing up. Everybody will get cataract in their lifetime. So it's nothing to be nervous of or afraid of developing. It is a normal part of aging eyes. But the good thing is you don't have to suffer with poor vision. You can see your eye care provider to talk about options to help you see better.
I heard you mention cataracts. Cataracts are something people hear about all the time. Is it true that everyone eventually develops cataracts?
It is true. Yes, it's a normal part of aging eyes. And in the past, we used to tell people you have to wait until your cataracts are mature or ripe before you can undergo a surgery. But that's really not the thinking now with modern day surgery because it's very straightforward, a very safe and effective procedure. What happens is I go into the eye, remove that cloudiness of the cataract, and I can implant a premium lens, intraocular lens inside your eye. And that can help you see better than you've ever seen in your entire life. So, lenses like the Technis from Johnson & Johnson Vision can help you see clearly far away, at your computer, and up close all in one to decrease your dependence on glasses after surgery. So it's been really wonderful to see how happy my patients are after they've undergone something like a cataract surgery.
For people who just need vision correction or for everyday life, what solutions can help, especially with how much screen time we all have now?
Yeah, I feel like we're all on our screens all hours of the day. We're on our big screens, our little screens. So if you're not ready for something like a cataract surgery, then choosing a more modern day contact lens is really the best solution. I love the AccuView lenses. Those can give you that great natural range of vision. So you're not fussing with your glasses at all times, having readers everywhere around your house or in every bag. And that can give you a really great range of vision. And what's nice is even if you're using digital devices all day, it won't worsen any eye discomfort. So you can wear them comfortably and they can help you see at all distances.
If someone has an eye appointment coming up, what are the key questions you want them to ask their eye doctor in 2026 so they get the right guidance?
Yeah, it is really important to make sure that you're doing your once-a-year eye exam with your eye care provider. There are so many eye health conditions that we can pick up just from a screening eye exam. Also, even total body health conditions, things like high blood pressure, diabetes, even autoimmune conditions. So it's really important to go for that yearly exam. And then when you're there, speak to your doctor about your vision concerns. So whether it has to do with work or driving or maybe even screen time, and they will be able to create a customized plan for you. So whether it be the AccuView contact lenses or the Technis intraocular lens and cataract surgery, you have options.
And where can our viewers go for more information?
So I usually refer my patients to 2 websites, the first being clearvisionforyou.com, and the second is accuview.com. There's lots of great information there.
Dr. Brissette, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Ever wonder what happens when a football star gets a second shot at his dreams, under a fake name? Hulu's new comedy, Chad Powers, follows Glenn Powell as a disgraced quarterback who reinvents himself in the most unexpected ways. So joining us is Wynn Everett. She plays Tricia, a Southern socialite and booster caught up in the wild world of small-town football. Welcome to the show, Wynn. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. The show has such a fun premise. There's a quarterback pretending to be someone else just to get back on the field. What first hooked you about Chad Powers when you read the script?
Well, Chad Powers came to me as one of the greatest gifts of my lifetime because I had moved back home to Atlanta, to the South. I was raised in Atlanta. And I had done New York for 9 years and Los Angeles. My husband and I decided we want to move back to the South, to Atlanta. And then I've been working here. And then all of a sudden, one day in my email box, I get a script called Chad Powers that was going to be shot here in my hometown in Atlanta with a Southern crew and a Southern creator that wrote this, Michael Waldron. He's also from Atlanta, and Glenn Powell. Together, they created the show. And I was hooked from page one. I was laughing out loud. They created characters that had depth and heart and humor and wit, and sometimes said the most outrageous things and then sometimes said the most tender things. And I fell in love.
And your character, Tricia, brings a lot of Southern charm and maybe a little mischief. How would you describe her personally and the role that she plays in pretty much all this?
So Tricia is the head booster for the South Georgia Catfish. She is in charge of really getting the money for our program, our college football program. And she is very invested. And that's where we come with, in the beginning, in episode 1, we don't have a quarterback. And Tricia wants that quarterback. She wants that position filled ASAP so we can get this program going and get a winning season. And in walks Chad Powers in an open tryout audition. As you can tell, I'm a theater kid.
No worries about that. Speaking of, how did you find inspiration for the role? Anybody that you watch, go to the DMV, go to PTA meetings? What got you there to turn into this character?
Well, when I read it, I actually called a dear friend of mine who works with the boosters at the University of Georgia. And so he kind of walked me through what a booster meeting looks like and how these ladies act and work with the people that are donating to the team and to the school. And he really, really helped inform me sort of the world of boosters, which is it's an insane culture in and of itself. And so I was really able to draw from that. And then, for Tricia, she's just every Southern woman that I was raised by. My mother is a bit of a Tricia. I have Tricia in my neighborhood right now that mothers me, just people that are in charge and can sometimes be bossy. I don't want to say that too loud because then my mother will call me. And they're just loving, but they also will tell you what to do, and they've got some opinions.
I could almost guarantee your mom's not watching this show.
I'm safe. I can say everything.
Good. Yeah, no, all spoilers allowed here. It kind of takes a shot at sports culture, but also redemption and identity. What kind of conversations were happening on set about those deeper themes and behind some of the laughs you guys got?
Well, and that's what I think is people that watch this show, it is not what you expect. It's taken from a 10-minute sketch of Eli Manning's, and Glenn Powell and Michael Waldron created this entire world, but it is just not what you expect. It's got the witty moments, it's got the humor, it's got the comedy, but then it can be very dark. The characters say things that are super inappropriate and very vulnerable at times and make you very uncomfortable. And then it's got a lot of tenderness that people are not expecting. So we just want so much for people. If you think you know what it is and you don't want to watch it, we want you to tune in, and we hope to change your mind and that you fall in love with this world.
And you've had such a wide-ranging career, from Agent Carter to Doom Patrol and now Chad Powers. How does this project stand out for you compared to some of your other past roles?
This just stands out for me because it's my heart. It's where I was born and raised in the South in Georgia. It's got the characters that I grew up with. It's got a voice and an energy about it that I know. I know the energy of the South and the University of Georgia my parents went to, where we filmed our finale at the University of Georgia in the actual stadium with 93,000 fans all there. It's all real. It's all live. It's crazy what they did as a production in that scene in the finale. And so this is just a super special project to me. It's basically like coming home.
Wynn, I want to thank you for joining me today. You can catch Chad Powers. It's now streaming on Hulu with new episodes every Tuesday. Wynn Everett, thanks for joining me today, my friend.
Thank you. Love you guys, and we appreciate you. Thank you so much for plugging the show.
Do you ever wish you could train your body and brain to handle fear better? In Limitless, Live Better Now, Chris Hemsworth pushes past pain, fear, and risk, guided by experts who turn science into real tools you can use. Today, we have from the Risk episode, neuroscientist Dr. Abigail Marsh and freestyle motocross legend Robbie Madison, two people who know a thing or two about fear and focus. Welcome to the show, you two.
Doing well, thank you.
All right, in simple terms, what's happening in the brain when we avoid risk versus when we face it on purpose?
Oh, that's such a good question. The problem with fear, sometimes fear is a useful emotion because it can keep us out of truly, life-ending or life-threatening danger. But fear does not always tell us the truth. Sometimes it tells us to avoid things that wouldn't hurt us and that might even help us to grow, that we might enjoy, and that might help us learn. And so we need to get better at learning when to ignore our fear and push through and do the things that fear tells us not to do, because taking on positive risks, in Chris's case, climbing a 500-foot high wall in the Swiss Alps, can give us a sense of joy, can give us a sense of self-efficacy, and also resilience when tackling new risks in the future.
The episode explores exposure therapy and flow. What's a practical way viewers can safely practice those at home without a Swiss Alps climbing wall?
Well, if a Swiss Alps climbing wall isn't handy, there are lots of other ways to take on risks. The tricky thing is it's sort of personal to each person. So not everybody is afraid of the same thing. Some people aren't afraid of heights. I'm not one of those people. I'm glad that Chris climbed that wall instead of me. But for each one of us, it's important to pay attention to the things that scare you and that are inhibiting your life because you're avoiding doing things that might actually give you a sense of meaning and purpose and excitement and joy. And just identifying the things that scare you, and taking small steps one at a time to try to increase your ability to tackle that kind of challenge is really the thing to do.
Okay, I gotta make my list. I think it covers pretty much everything that scares me. Plus some names and Instagram accounts I could add to that list as well. Robbie, you've built a career in high stakes precision. How do you separate recklessness from calculated risk? And what's your mental checklist before like a big stunt?
Well, the edge of fear is where life gets interesting, and I really find that being in the present moment is my goal, because once you're that prefrontal cortex that Abby talks about turned off, and you're just focused on your technique and the physical things that are happening that might affect your outcome, you're really in this kind of focused state. And eventually, once action comes in, that's when flow state takes over. And life, I mean, it's just an interesting state of living, and it's not something that's achievable for massive long periods, but we're able to get to this point and function in a way where we're at our highest self, and it's but for me personally, I mean, fear is something I deal with every day, and it's just something that I deal with, and so it's how I challenge myself. It's what keeps me motivated and healthy and working hard and with a confident mindset and doing the right work behind the scenes. It gets you ready for match day. And so I don't recommend climbing the wall either. I would have wanted to do it myself, but I'm climbing my own walls, and it's about, this series is to show you how it works and then figure out what those walls are to you personally and go after just kind of taking small steps, because with growth comes happiness, and this is all about well-being and how we can better ourselves.
And for parents and coaches, how do we encourage healthy risk-taking in kids and teens without pushing them way too far?
It's important to, I think, help everybody remember, whether it's kids or adults, that taking on risks is often really fun. When we discover that we can do something that we didn't know how to do, it can give us an incredible sense of joy that we are more capable than that we knew that we could be. And so by shutting ourselves off from taking risks, we're also cutting ourselves off from a lot of thrills and excitement and joy. The nice thing is that kids' brains naturally push them to take risks if adults just get out of their way. Parents can sometimes hover a little too much and be a little bit too overprotective, but kids need to take risks in order to gain the skills that will allow them to develop and grow and learn. And really what adults need to do is sort of tap into that childlike state of being a little bit more by being deliberate about taking on new things.
And just to add, as a father of three boys who are following my footsteps, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with risk taking. And I do see other parents kind of putting their kids in unsafe situations. And they're essentially trying to mimic my kids who are doing backflips and doing all this stuff, but they're not seeing the behind the scenes work that goes into that and the small steps we take to get them ready for it. So there's a responsibility of, unsafe risk taking and what Dr. Abigail talks about and what we do, and this is positive risk taking and the small steps. And Chris trains for these things. So with the right preparation, you can scale the highest mountains. No one climbs Everest by just walking there and climbing it. It's all about preparation. You got to get ready for every step of the way. So, there's a lot of learning, a lot of growth here. But an incredible series. I binge watched the first one. I'm excited to be a part of series 2. And Chris is a great example of what it takes physically, mentally. There's a lot of education in this. It's a must watch for sure.
I want to thank you two for joining me today. Limitless, Live Better Now is now streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu. Check out the Risk episode with Abigail Marsh and Robbie Madison for simple, science-backed ways to build courage, focus, and resilience starting today. I want to thank you two for joining me.
Thank you so much. Fantastic day.
All right, I'm here with Ari Aster, director and writer of the new movie Eddington, and I'm just gonna have to tell you that I hate you. And the reason why is you put me through so much stress today watching that movie. I loved this film.
Oh, good.
It's hard to start an interview by saying I hate you and I also love the film all in the same statement.
No, that's good.
You set this during a really tough time in history. During COVID-19, you have a sheriff kind of struggling through a lot of personal issues while dealing with, I guess, professional issues.
Yeah, among other issues. Yeah.
And it's all set in a small New Mexico town. What brought you to focus all of that energy in a really interesting time in a small town, which shouldn't have really that big of an impact on the world, but in this movie, massive impact. What kind of put you there?
Well, I'm from New Mexico.
Yes.
I grew up here, so I wanted to make a film in New Mexico. I've wanted to for a long time. And in late spring, early summer 2020, I was here in New Mexico, and I just wanted to make a film about the environment. And I don't mean the environment in New Mexico, but rather what was happening in the country, what was happening all over the world, but just basically make a film about a bunch of people who are living on the internet and who are living in different realities. And then make a film about, what happens when these people who are not reachable to each other and they're living in separate realities, what happens when they start bumping up against each other? And what's the logic that comes out of that, right? Pushing them deeper into their paranoia and convictions, and how that, it leads to violence because there's nothing in the ether that's holding them together anymore.
I have noticed in this movie, it's probably the greatest usage of phones I've ever seen in my entire history of watching movies. It was really natural. What was your decision in doing it that way on this film?
Well, on set we were calling it "Screens the Movie," right? And so yeah, I'm glad you felt that it felt natural.
Yeah.
At the same time, I wanted them to be so pervasive that they almost became like nauseating. Like, to almost have them be to have them over time become kind of overwhelming.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's and just to foreground all of that, because I think we're living in a really weird time, and it's easy to forget that because, again, all these things are so pervasive that they become ambient, and things that are obvious kind of become less so when they're ambient, right? It becomes banal. But the way that we're living on these phones, and then what's coming with AI, already that's been kind of normalized, but it's weird. It's weird.
I totally agree with you. I like how you used it, and it was such a natural usage of the technology in it.
We need to free each other's hearts.
Your movies do have a lot of themes about generational trauma, and I've noticed that. Is there a reason, or do you have a feeling that you have to highlight some of this generational trauma in some of these films, or why it's important for you to kind of cover some of these themes in movies?
It's not as it's not so conscious as all of that. But But I don't know. We've all got trauma.
We do.
Yeah, that's pretty much all there is, you know.
It gives every character one heck of a backstory, or at least history to their story. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, and I think this film in particular is about a bunch of people who have their own histories, and they also turn to history to shore up their beliefs, whatever they are. Some of them are directly oppositional, and it's about people who are kind of lost in themselves, and they're living in their heads, and so yeah, it's I more than any other film I've made, I want this to sort of function as like a landscape, you know, where it's Joaquin Phoenix is, his character, Sheriff Joe Cross, he's the main character, but I want I wanted to pull back as far as I could and give as broad a picture of the political, ideological landscape as possible. And also, but that also have it be very rooted in New Mexico. It's sort of, this town, Eddington, sort of functions as a microcosm for the rest of the country, but it also sort of functions as a microcosm for the politics of New Mexico as well. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, I want to thank you for making this movie. It was an incredible film. I absolutely loved it. I was stressed out from beginning to end. I'm a huge fan of Twin Peaks, so it kind of reminded me of, like, you are? I go out to Twin Peaks up to North Bend twice a year to go visit some of their events, so it just put me into, like, the New Mexico version of that, following the Sheriff's Department. Absolutely loved it, so I really want to thank you for all your work.
Thank you.
So there it is. Ari Aster, thanks for joining me this morning.
Thanks for having me.
You ever wonder about what happens to a fighter after the cheering stops? Bang Bang follows a retired boxer trying to make good on family, on legacy, and on himself. It's gritty, it's grounded, and it's set against Detroit. Today we've got actor Andrew Liner, who plays Justin, joining us to dig into the story and work out what went into it. Welcome to the show, Andrew. How are you, my friend?
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, can you give us a quick version? What is Bang Bang about, and who is Justin in this world with Tim Blake Nelson's Bang Bang?
Bang Bang is about Tim Blake Nelson's character, Bang Bang Bernard, and it follows the life after fighting. It's about what happens to a title fighter after they retire. I play his grandson, who he then starts coaching, and they start forming a connection, and they start, they need each other. They need each other. It's a important relationship. It's a father-son type of relationship. It's a coach to his athlete relationship as well. And we kind of explore the complexities of that father-son coach-athlete combination. And but really, it's about life after fighting for these people, for these boxers and these fighters, and where it can lead. And unfortunately, Bang Bang's story is not the worst of them all.
So what kind of training or prep did you do to get Justin believable in the ring and in some of those personal, quieter moments?
I like to work physically and then start going into the internal stuff. I put on 15 pounds of muscle, and I started boxing a lot more every day. And I grew up boxing a little bit, watching boxing, but all I was watching was boxing documentaries, fights, interviews, and all I was doing was kind of just training and boxing myself. So it was a physical and then into the internal. I think that exploring the quieter moments was, I was out there in Kentucky. It was by myself. I didn't really have anyone my age out there either. So it kind of became this cathartic experience that was, in a way, a parallel to Justin's quietness. So, yeah, I think athletes all feel the quiet at a point in time.
And you're opposite a heavyweight cast. What did you pick up working with Tim Blake Nelson and the rest of the ensemble?
Every actor was so unbelievably talented, but at the same time, the biggest thing that I learned was they all were true and they were honest and they were real and they were just talking and listening. And it got to a point where everyone was trying a bunch of different things within the confines of continuity, within the confines of being real, and within the confines of their character. And I think that it, in a way, pushed me to start exploring that in myself, to start exploring, you know, maybe I gotta swing bigger here, or just try this, or just try that, or in what's honest to me, and push myself to the best of my abilities, just like Tim did, and just like Erica did, and Glenn, and just that's what it was inspiring. It was motivating, and it was, you know, it was a blessing to just watch them work.
And what do you hope audiences feel walking out? What's the takeaway you kind of want them to sit with?
This is about a fighter after they're done. And I think that he is brash and he is abrasive and he's not the nicest guy at times, but I think that he is trying to do good. And I think that if you're in the pursuit of goodness, that's where we want to be. We want to be helping each other. We want to be, you know, fighting for honor. We want to be forgiving and forgetting. And I think that Bang Bang is about that. I think that it is about the, you know, rocky road of this post-life, this post-title fighter, this guy who is in the pursuit of goodness. And it's not pretty, but it's honest. And I think Justin needs him, and he shows up. He didn't have to. So they need each other, and I think we all need each other.
And you've got another big one coming up, working with Destry Spielberg on Please Don't Feed the Children. Yeah. How are you feeling heading into that?
You know, man, it's really exciting. I think that having that under my belt, having another job under my belt is really important, and I'm thankful to be working in a time in our industry where, you know, we went from COVID to strikes to fires, and it's been bleak, and it's been, there's a lot of phenomenal actors that aren't working. I'm just blessed to be working, and not only working, but working with Destry. It's a true blessing.
Andrew, thanks for joining us today. Bang Bang is now playing in select theaters with more cities rolling out across the country. Check your local listings to see where it's showing near you. Hey, Andrew, thanks again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, I want to thank you for tuning in to Rise and Unwind. If you want to be part of the show, just go to our website, riseunwindtv.com, fill out the form, send it in. Maybe you could be on a future episode. We're on social media, Facebook and Instagram. Plus, you can find our YouTube channel at Rise Unwind. And until next week, that was the show we like to call Rise and Unwind.